Well, the government of Alberta is giving serious consideration to replacing the RCMP with an independent Alberta Provincial Police Service, with the potential of that transition beginning in the year 2025. Now, a report by PricewaterhouseCoopers outlines that this transition could cost $366 million. Now, last year, the provincial government began shifting the cost of policing to municipalities, including Lethbridge County, but the county's position is that Alberta municipalities have not been adequately consulted on this matter. Joining me now is Lethbridge County Reeve Tory Campbell. Reeve Campbell, thanks so much for joining me today on this very important matter. So great to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Lethbridge County's position is that the municipalities were not properly consulted on this. So tell us more about this. What exactly happened? How did this come about? How was the county informed of this?
Sure. So over the last, I would say, couple of years here, we'd initially heard whispers that this was something that it was being considered. To take a step back, coming out of the Fair Deal panel that the government of Alberta had commissioned, coming from that panel, one of the recommendations to come out of there was that the province explore the possibility of a transition to a provincial police service. As far as my recollection goes, it definitely wasn't one of the top recommendations. It was actually quite a bit lower, received quite a bit less support. But nonetheless, here we are today. It obviously has gained some momentum from the province's side, and we're on the cusp of starting some engagement sessions with the province here over the coming months.
Mm-hmm. So what are your main concerns about shifting from RCMP to a provincial police force? Is it mainly cost?
I think, yeah, definitely. Cost is obviously a paramount concern to the county. We have a very limited amount of resources to work with, and any further strain on that has to go towards policing is obviously of great concern. We're happy with the current arrangement that we have with the RCMP. We fully acknowledge that there's work to be done to improve that relationship and to increase that level of service within the county. But at the same time, we feel that we can work within that current relationship, build and strengthen that, and come out in a favorable position.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about your local detachment of RCMP. You must have a great relationship with them. What are their thoughts and feelings on this? Are they neutral about it? Are they happy? Are they upset? What are you hearing?
Yeah, so when we travel to Edmonton for our RMA convention, we have the opportunity to meet with K Division and talk with some higher ranking officials there within the RCMP. And we've relayed to them and will continue to that we appreciate the support that we receive. We appreciate the relationship. And what they've communicated to us is that they're very much engaged in working with us. There's been no indication from anyone on the RCMP side of the table that they want to move away from policing. I know that's kind of been bantied about a bit, but there's been no indication that there's any appetite from the RCMP to move away from that. They want to provide a service, and they want to provide it in a cost-effective manner to municipalities.
Mm-hmm. Is there any talk on what will happen to the current RCMP? Will they just have to move elsewhere?
Yeah, I mean that's so many huge unknowns. I know that when we've talked to provincial ministers, there's been a suggestion that maybe that if there were to be a transition to a provincial police service, that some of those members here in Alberta could be absorbed into that provincial police service. Obviously, there would have to be a large number of them move over just to fill those vacancies on the provincial police service side. As with many things in this issue, a lot of unanswered questions.
Yeah,
to this
so
point.
many unknowns, absolutely. So let's talk dollars and cents. So how much was Lethbridge County asked to contribute to this provincial police force?
Well, at this point in time, that's, I think, our biggest concern is that through the PricewaterhouseCoopers report, costing is one of the I would say one of the more glaring absences in that. There is that $366 million potential transitional cost that you mentioned, but after that, it really doesn't spell out what the ongoing costs will be, and additionally what that would mean to municipalities. I know the premier has stated that he doesn't intend to download any further policing costs to municipalities. But without some concrete evidence to back that up, we just don't feel comfortable moving forward at this time.
Yeah, totally. And I believe I read somewhere in that report that last year the county was asked to contribute, was it $350,000? And then it's going to rise again in this next coming year to $469,000. Is that correct?
That's correct. With the information that we currently hold, from that baseline where we started to looking out into the coming years, creeping up on that $700,000 a year figure would be our contribution from the municipality to the provincial government to offset that cost of policing in our municipality.
Right. Is this going to be a yearly burden on the county indefinitely, or is there like an end in sight, or does it just go on and on?
That's the $1 million question right now. Just looking at what's happened, where we are provincially, the provincial state of affairs as it pertains to finances. I would be shocked if that cost to us, the municipality, were to decrease. Obviously, hopeful that if nothing else, it holds. I think all along we have acknowledged the fact that we receive a service, and I think there was an appetite to participate in paying for that service. But I think there's a pretty large discrepancy between the service that we're receiving and the cost for that. And as that ties into the potential provincial police service, there hasn't been any assurances made to us that if we were to continue paying at a similar level, we would receive an increased level of service, which obviously is concerning.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, like if this financial burden is put on the county for a provincial police force year after year, what is this taking money out of? So what are the citizens of the county going to be missing out on as a result? Or is it going to just increase their tax burden?
I think you nailed it on the head. I think that it just makes our job, and not just Lethbridge County. We're talking about municipalities throughout Alberta. It just makes our job that much more difficult. Costs continue to rise. We're dealing with some quite scary inflation figures right now, and the fact of the matter is we continue to be downloaded upon, and that just means that, as you said. We're trying to be creative. We are being creative. We're trying to stretch that dollar as far as we can, but there comes a point where we just can't keep up anymore, and tough choices have to be made. And unfortunately, that ultimately, is going to mean reductions to levels of service, or that raise in taxes, like you said.
Right, and nobody wants that, especially these days. So, what about other counties? Have you had the opportunity to talk to other municipalities? Is the cost does it go by population? How is that figured out, or do you know? Is that one of those unknowns again?
No, the current model that there is. Under the current model, there definitely are those factors that come into play that would impact how much you're paying. Population being one of those. Our discussions with rural municipalities predominantly have kind of fallen in line with our feelings. I think they're deeply concerned as well. At the end of the day, I think we all acknowledge that there's a lot of challenges facing not only rural Alberta, but the rest of Alberta as well. And this, quite frankly, just seems like a bit of a distraction at this point in time. We have a police service that's working for us. I think there's ways to work within the current system to make that system work better for our residents, other rural residents. And there's a lot of opportunity to spend some provincial tax dollars in a lot of meaningful ways that I think that could really directly impact Albertans. And I'm just not sure at this point in time we've been convinced that a provincial police service is the best route.
Yeah, exactly. Does the county have a solution to this? Instead of just coming at it with a problem that we don't like this, is there?
Well, the province is offering us some opportunity here. Like I said, they are hosting numerous engagement sessions throughout the province here, throughout the coming months, and we're hopeful that when we get a chance to speak at these, that we'll be heard. Um, we continue to share this message with our MLAs. And any minister that's willing to give us the time, we stress the importance that this bears to us, and we're hopeful that they'll listen. And ultimately, if the decision is made that we do eventually transition to a provincial police service, that the costs can be managed, and that we as municipalities have a seat at the table in formulating what this will look like, and how we govern it moving forward.
Interesting. Now, I understand that you have been contacting your local MLAs, but you feel that your concerns have sort of fallen on deaf ears. Was there just no response whatsoever?
I will admit it's a tough position for our MLAs to be put into. This obviously is coming. This is coming top down. From the provincial government. It's a mandate that the premier and some of his senior ministers are quite committed to, especially exploring ways that the province can become more independent from Ottawa, and the rest of us are ultimately passengers in some of those discussions and how things are moving forward. So, we're fortunate we do have a good relationship with our MLAs, but I think they can. I hope that they're listening to our message. I hope that they're carrying that up the chain. But I can't say with great certainty if they're having any success spreading that message as well.
Wow. And then as far as private citizens, what's next? What can people do?
Well, I think that part of our thought process as a municipality was to push out some information on this, make people aware that this is being considered. We as municipal leaders, I think we're well aware of what I shouldn't say well aware. We try to make ourselves as aware as possible of what's going on, and fully, knowing full well that we have access to a very limited amount of information at times. But what we can do is take that information, push that out to our residents, and try and make the greater public aware of this issue. I think it's something at the end of the day that's going to impact everyone in one way or another. So I think it's important that we can be that bridge and try and spread that information, and just let people know where we're coming from, why we've taken this position, and what our goal is moving forward.
Fantastic. Lethbridge County Reeve Tory Campbell, thank you so much for joining me today on this important matter. Glad to have you on today.
You bet. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.